The courthouse was never meant for mercy. Its marble pillars and echoing halls were built for power, and power was the one thing Elena Russo didn't have. She stood trembling at the witness stand, her hands clutching the edge of the wooden rail as her violent husband, Marco, smirked across the room. For years he'd used his wealth and influence to silence her cries, to make her pain invisible under a veil of lies and luxury. Today was supposed to be her day of justice, but as she looked around the courtroom, she realized every eye, the judge, the lawyers, the guards, was already bought. Every word she spoke was twisted, every truth turned into mockery. Her voice cracked as she pleaded, "Please, I just want peace. I just want to live." The room erupted in murmurs, and Marco leaned back, confidence dripping from his smirk. "You'll never leave me alive, Elena," he whispered under his breath. The judge banged his gavel, calling for order, but it was clear order was already lost. Outside, the sky grew dark, clouds thick as smoke. The city streets fell silent as a convoy of black cars rolled toward the courthouse. Engines roared, synchronized, like thunder approaching the hill. Pedestrians stopped, staring in fear and confusion as men in black suits stepped out, one after another, until the number reached nearly 100. At the front, a tall figure emerged, his face chiseled with quiet authority, his neck inked with stories of violence and loyalty. Dante Morelli, the most feared mafia boss on the East Coast? His name alone made men disappear, but today he wasn't here for blood. He was here for Elena. Years ago, Elena had saved Dante's sister from a brutal fate when no one else dared intervene. He never forgot that. And when he learned that Elena was now fighting her own demons, cornered by a monster protected by law, he decided the law would no longer be enough. Inside the courtroom, whispers turned to gasps as the heavy doors swung open. 100 men in black suits filled the aisles, silent, deadly, loyal. Dante stepped forward, eyes locked on Marco. "You should have stayed in your cage," he said coldly. Marco shot up, shouting at the judge, "Arrest him! He's a criminal." But the judge froze. Every security guard stood still, knowing the weight of the name that had just walked in. Elena's tears mixed with disbelief. "Dante, what are you doing?" she whispered. He didn't look at her yet. His focus was razor-sharp. "You saved one of mine once," he said, voice calm but deadly. "Now I'm saving you." The courtroom fell into a stunned silence as the Mafia Boss took another step closer, his presence alone bending the air. The gavel dropped from the judge's trembling hand. For the first time in her life, Elena felt protected. And for the first time in his, Marco realized power wasn't his to command anymore. The courtroom was no longer a place of law. It had become a battleground of morality. Marco's lawyer stammered, trying to regain control, but every word dissolved under Dante's piercing gaze. The 99 men behind him stood like statues, each one ready to act at a single nod. Dante walked toward the bench, his shoes echoing against the polished floor. "You think justice is written on paper?" he said, his voice low, almost poetic. "No, justice lives in loyalty, in courage, and standing up for someone when the whole world turns away." His words hung heavy in the air, reaching even the cold hearts of those who once judged Elena as weak. The judge hesitated, looking at the mafia army filling his courtroom. "Mr. Morelli, this is highly illegal," he stammered. Dante smirked. "So was beating a woman and buying her silence for years. But I don't see you calling that illegal." The entire room went quiet again. Marco tried to move toward Elena, but 2 of Dante's men blocked his way. "You don't touch her again," one of them warned. "Not today, not ever?" Dante turned to Elena finally, his hardened face softening just slightly. "You don't owe him your pain anymore. You walk out of here free." Elena's lips trembled. "But they'll arrest you," she whispered. He shrugged. "They've been trying for years." Then, with a nod, he gave the signal. The 99 men turned in unison, creating a human corridor leading from the courtroom door to the courthouse steps outside. Elena hesitated only a moment before walking forward. Every step felt like freedom reclaiming her soul. Reporters outside snapped photos as she emerged, flanked by the infamous Morelli syndicate. The media would twist the story, politicians would panic, But one thing would never change. That day, justice belonged to the brave, not the powerful. Inside, Dante faced Marco one last time. "She was never yours to break," he said quietly, then turned his back and walked away, leaving the man trembling in silence. Hours later, as the courthouse emptied and the city buzzed with rumors, Elena found herself standing by the black convoy. Dante leaned against his car, lighting a cigarette. "You've got a new life now," he said. "Don't waste it." She nodded, tears of gratitude falling freely. "I won't," she whispered. He gave her a faint smile before his men surrounded him once more, engines roaring back to life. As the cars disappeared into the horizon, Elena finally felt peace. The man who had ruled by fear had used his power for good, and sometimes that was the kind of just